Hi guys, this is Nordic Impact Week from San Francisco and SoCap 2017. And I'm standing here with Jed Emerson. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
Who are you, Jed?
I'm Jed Emerson. I've worked in impact investing and social entrepreneurship, and broadly speaking have been promoting concepts around how to take capital and apply it for community change for about 25 years, almost 30 years.
Wow.
Sounds like a long time.
You've been one of the speakers here and you had a few seminars as well. What kind of topics have you been talking about during these days?
Sure. Well, I feel like the conversation in impact investing has become very focused on strategy and tactics, with many people talking about how to structure the right fund and the metrics and how to raise capital. And these are all critical issues that I myself have been involved in kind of advancing as well. But I feel like we need to return to first principles and really reflect more on the purpose of capital and fundamentally what is it we're ultimately trying to do, and then inform our practice from there. Because I think that if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And I think we need to regroup and focus more on change and shifting economics to a new level.
In a way, you're talking about a new capitalism, a new kind of capitalism, a new system, a new way of viewing money. Could you define that very briefly?
I think that's part of what this current dialogue is really all about. Many of us, I think, feel that financial capitalism, which is the form of capitalism that's really driven much of the modern economy for, let's say, 60 years or more, really we've taken it as far as we can, and it has not served us well. It doesn't serve stakeholder groups, it doesn't serve the broader community interest. It serves individual wealth holders very well, but the point of capital is not simply to make more money. The point of capital is to be used as a fuel for freedom, to really enable entrepreneurs to pursue their vision, to enable community actors and activists to create a more just and equitable society for us all.
We are all here because of a conversation, basically. SoCap is about conversation between people to co-create the future together. How many times have you been here at SoCap?
I've been here 9. I missed one.
Wow.
One year where I just didn't feel like talking to anybody. And, but I've been here, I think, 9 times.
Okay, what would you say is sort of the greatest thing about SoCap?
I think the greatest thing is the accessibility that you have to leading people in the space and really connecting those people back to the roots, if you will, that they came from. You can come as an entrepreneur or as an activist and have access to people who are actually making investments or running funds. And it creates a very powerful dialogue. And I think this is part of what I was doing in my talk yesterday, was trying to challenge the power holders, if you will, to refocus on our purpose of what we're trying to do.
You have a website, Blended Value. I love values myself, so I just really love that name.
Sure.
What is Blended Values?
Well, blended value comes from my experience in the 90s, where I found that I had come into the conversation from the silo of social entrepreneurship and found myself getting many requests to work with for-profit, mission-driven entrepreneurs. And then that also led to conversations with for-profit, mission-driven social investors. And I realized that all these people were having what they thought were very different and unique conversations. But to my mind, they were all talking about value as more than just either or. Value as more than simply making money or giving it away, but rather value as a blend of economic, social, and environmental considerations. And so what I've spent now almost 20 years doing is trying to promote this concept that we need to focus less on the parts and more on the whole. And we should position our organizations and our capital and our leadership around the idea of optimizing total value and not simply one or the other.
You were talking during one of your seminars about this purpose of money that we discussed earlier. Have you found the purpose of money?
I think the process of finding purpose is an evolving one. And I think for me personally, I imagine this is true for a lot of people, I find over the course of my life, I've had certain answers and certain frameworks that worked really well for me at certain stages of life. And then you kind of blow through those and you come out the other side and you're like, well, that was really good for then, but I need something else now. And I think I've gone through probably 3 or 4 iterations with regard to my understanding of the purpose of capital. And so part of what I'm trying to do in this conversation is promote and provoke a different level of conversation around, again, first principles with regard to what are we really trying to be about, what really is the living legacy that we want to leave over the course of our lives.
You have written a number of great books. You can find them on your website as well if you guys are interested. And that has brought you some way to the Nordics as well. You have some connection to the Nordics.
It's kind of funny. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I think I have 3 connections. One is, da jeg var 16, jeg bor I Denmark for et år. Så går jeg I højskolen. And so I speak kind of a little bit of Danish.
Wow, I'm impressed. Danish is difficult.
But I have found that when I'm in, my wife is Norwegian, and so we have family in Norway, and we are there probably 3 times a year. And if I speak very slow Danish, it sounds like Norwegian, like bad Norwegian, right? So
Yes.
My nieces and nephews like to laugh at my expense. But then I think the third connection to the Nordics is really more philosophical, and where we have our huta is about 2.5 hours hike away from what was the home of, or the huta of Arne Næss, who was a philosopher who actually coined the term deep ecology and did a lot of work in the 70s and 80s promoting the concept that we need to step back as humanity and understand our connection to planet and to the environment as a part of our understanding of economics. And I think his work has inspired me a great deal.
Nordic Impact Week is about making impact from the Nordics here when the world is gathering here, but also that we can get some impact back with us back home. What kind of impact do you want to do during these days in San Francisco?
Well, I think for me, it's really committing and connecting to this idea of global movement of actors, and that it's not that any one country or set of practitioners really has the answer, but the answer really will come out of the conversations between a variety of folks. And I know that in Norway, for example, you have Catapult. Terald Newstead is promoting that work very well in that area, and I think there's a lot that we can learn from the entrepreneurs and the investors that he is convening there. And there are other events and networks that have evolved out of Scandinavia that I think the U.S. needs to take seriously and learn from with regard to vision and ideas and practice. So I think the whole idea of connecting these various threads, again, into that blended value kind of tapestry is a very exciting thing to be engaged in.
Thank you for taking part of this conversation. I really value your time that you could join us here, and perhaps you guys have gotten some great ideas here. And please visit blendedvalue.com, right?
Yeah. Tack ska du ha.
Tack ska du ha. Take care, guys, and have a great day, Jake.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.